Hi all, welcome to another video at Craving Mindz. I'm sure you all must be knowing the story of the Little Red Riding Hood. But what made me choose this story to present to you all today was the hidden moral behind it, which I'm sure all young girls and women must know and understand, especially in today's modern world. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, then please do subscribe and encourage us. Now let's dive into this story. Enjoy! The Little Red Riding Hood is a timeless classic children's story about Little Red Riding Hood and the wolf. The story is a European folk tale, this version retold by Charles Perrault. Once upon a time, there lived in a certain village a little country girl, the prettiest girl who was ever seen. Her mother was excessively fond of her, and her grandmother doted on her still more. This good woman had a little red riding hood made for her. It suited the girl so extremely well that everybody called her the Little Red Riding Hood. One day, her mother, having made some cakes, said to her,
"Go, my dear, and see how your grandmother is doing, for I hear she has been very ill. Take her these cakes and this little pot of peanut butter."
Little Red Riding Hood set out immediately to go to her grandmother's, who lived in another village. As she was going through the wood, she met with a wolf, who had a very good mind to eat her up. But he dared not, because of some woodcutters working nearby in the forest. He asked her where she is going. The poor child, who did not know that it was dangerous to stay and talk to a wolf, said to him,
"I'm going to see my grandmother and carry her some cupcakes and a little pot of peanut butter from my mother."
"Does she live far off?"
asked the wolf.
"Oh, I say, it is beyond that hill. You see there? It's the first house in the village."
"Well, I will go and see her too. I will go this way and you go that, and we shall see who will be there first."
The wolf ran as fast as he could, taking the shortest path, and the little girl took a roundabout way, entertaining herself by running after the butterflies and gathering little flowers. It was not long before the wolf arrived at the old woman's house. He knocked at the door.
"Who is there?"
"It is your grandchild, Little Red Riding Hood,"
replied the wolf, imitating her voice.
"who has brought you some cupcakes and a little pot of butter sent to you by mother."
The good grandmother, who was sitting on her armchair because she was somewhat ill, cried out,
"Pull the bobbin and the latch will go up."
So the wolf pulled the bobbin and the door opened, and then he immediately fell upon the good woman and gobbled her up in a moment, for it had been more than 3 days since he had eaten. He then shut the door and got into the grandmother's bed, expecting Little Red Riding Hood, who came sometime afterwards and knocked at the door.
"Who is there?"
Little Red Riding Hood, hearing the big voice of the wolf, was at first afraid, but believing her grandmother had a cold and was hoarse, answered,
It is your grandchild, Little Red Riding Hood, who has brought you some cupcakes and a little pot of peanut butter that mother sent you.
The wolf cried out to her, softening his voice as much as he could.
Pull the bobbin and the latch will go up.
Little Red Riding Hood pulled the bobbin and the door opened. The wolf, seeing her come in, said to her, hiding himself under the bedclothes,
How delighted I am to see you, my dear child. You look so pretty.
Little Red Riding Hood turned pink. She sat upon her grandma's armchair. She was greatly amazed to see how her grandma looked in her nightclothes and said to her,
Grandma, what big ears you have!
All the better to hear you with, my child.
Grandma, what big eyes you have!
All the better to see you with, my child.
Grandma, what big teeth you have got!
All the better to eat you up, my dear.
Little Red Riding Hood screamed with all her might to get away from the wolf's arms. Then the wicked wolf fell upon Little Red Riding Hood and gobbled her all up. Just at that moment, a woodcutter passing by Grandma's cottage heard Little Red Riding Hood's terrified screams. He came rushing to the house and found the door wide open. Entering the little house, he saw the wolf snoring loudly with a full tummy. The woodcutter became suspicious. He wondered where the good old grandmother was. Slowly, carefully, he cut open the wolf's stomach, and lo! Out came Little Red Riding Hood and Grandma, both looking extremely terrified, confused, and grateful at the same time. They both thanked the woodcutter for saving their lives from the cunning wolf. Then they and the woodcutter sat down and ate the little cakes that were sent by Little Red Riding Hood's mother and had a good time.
The moral of the story: children, especially attractive, well-bred young ladies, should never talk to strangers, for if they should do so, they may well provide dinner for a wolf. I say wolf, but there are various kinds of wolves. There are also those who are charming, quiet, polite, unassuming, complacent, and sweet, who pursue young women at home and in the streets. And unfortunately, it is these gentle wolves who are the most dangerous ones of all. Children must obey their parents, for what they say is for their own good.
I hope you all enjoyed the video and understood the moral behind it. If you like this video, then please do hit the like button. Thank you and keep watching. Bye bye for now.